Good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football guys. Wake up, wake up. There we go. I think my battery needs to be changed, but you know what? My battery doesn't need to be changed because I am always excited to be here every single morning talking to you guys. And before we get into everything here, couple of notes here for you great fans. Come December 12th, the Dallas Cowboys play the Washington football team at FedEx Field. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. We will be there. I believe we will be in Red Zone Lot. I'll make a post in the community tab with more details. If you want to be part of it, leave a comment in there. I'll actually have a donation button where if you want to help donate to help us make it bigger and better than we have in the past. The last one we had about 400 people there. I'm not sure how many people we'll have this year. I don't think it's going to be quite that big. Cowboys Experience actually brought 2 busloads of people from Carolina to join in. I mean, I cooked 15 pork shoulders. We had about 40 pounds of hamburgers for hamburgers. We had like 25 pounds of shrimp for shrimp sliders. We had a big pot of chili. Don't worry, we'll have a 65-inch TV out there so you can see it. We'll have patio heaters so that way we can stay warm. If you don't actually want to go to the game, you can actually stay out in the parking lot eating Joe Boo wings and actually watching the game with like-minded Cowboy fans. So definitely check it out, be part of it and stuff, and we're going to go ahead and have a ball. So join in the fun. If you're going to the game, definitely come over and check us out. Also, too, if you are a channel member, shout out to you. I am not really well organized, but I've learned something about giving up control of things. We now actually have a website for you channel members where you can communicate with me real easily back and forth. I'll get your address, get your picture for the membership video. I'll be able to get you your shot glasses and things like that. So go to the community tab there. There is a spot for you. Click on it and set it up. If you have a problem, just email me. Anyway, we have some news that's getting interesting here. The Cowboys, I know I shouldn't say anything about playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah. At this point, being 7-2, one of the top teams in the NFL, it would take an epic collapse for the Cowboys not to make the playoffs. And this is where you start honing in and fine-tuning your team for trying to make a run. And you have to start making decisions on what players are doing. See, for example, we know that Tyron Smith right now is looking like he's going to be able to play this weekend. You just got Lyle Collins back for his second game being back at right tackle. You have Terrence Steele, who played outstanding at right tackle, not so much the first game at left, but played pretty good his second game at left tackle. You have him. You have to decide who's going to be the starter. Now, Lyle Collins basically said he's supposed to be starting at right tackle this weekend. However, if he needs to play left tackle, if he needs to play running back, if he needs to do anything, he's going to do whatever the team wants him to do to get a win. You love that attitude. You love that attitude because at one point, you remember, he just wanted to be the right tackle. And now it's kind of like, I'll do whatever. So you now have Terrence Steele, who is the swing tackle, who can play left or right, which is great. You're covered if Tyron Smith's foot flares up or you get a lead and you want to take the big guy out, you got him. If something happens to Lyle Collins and stuff, you've got him. So we're covered there. And as we look at the offensive line, Tyler Badish was having a lot of problems early in the season with big guys that were coming at him and getting that push up the middle, the Ndamukong Suhs, the Vita Veys, and things. He seems to have settled down and gotten into a rhythm and been better. The spot where you look at that you're kind of worried, not Zach Martin, because Zach Martin, you don't hear Zach Martin's name because Zach Martin is playing lights out. But Connor Williams has had some good games and had some ones not so much, and seems to be the guy that gets picked on for penalties. At one point, I know he was tied for the most penalized player on the offensive line throughout the NFL. I'm not sure where that sits, but I don't think he's now gone to the lowest. That's the spot that is questioned. So earlier this morning, Mike McCarthy was asked about the possibility of Connor Williams at left guard. And he did not confirm nor deny it, who was going to be the starter. His response was, I'll say this. Both Connors will play in the game, that's for sure. That's our plan, so that's where we'll leave that. Now, Mike McCarthy is interesting. He's an interesting character. I remember the first year, last year when we were in training camp and things, we didn't have preseason games. We had the blue and white scrimmage. And all of us YouTubers, man, we were excited. Oh, man, we're going to watch the game. We're going to break down plays and everything else. And we found out that Mike McCarthy was very stealth. He didn't put numbers on the players, jerseys, anything. He wouldn't allow any wide shots. Every shot was up close, so you couldn't see what they were running. He was very secretive. And I dare say he is getting kind of cryptic like Bill Belichick, because Bill Belichick, he don't want to really talk to you and give you information. Now, this is interesting because that can say so many different things that's left up to interpretation. And if it's wrong, it's because of the way you interpret it. See, when you say both Connors will play in the game, he doesn't say if they're both playing at guard or elsewhere. See, you will assume that that means that we're going to rotate them at guard, right? That would be the assumption. But we know Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore has done kind of that power wishbone, I like to call it, where he had Lyle Collins and Connor McGovern in the backfield. So technically, you run that play one time, you're both playing in the game. It doesn't say they're going to play at guard. However, I think this is a chance that the Cowboys, having played Connor McGovern when Zach Martin was out, liked what he did and may consider making a move on there because of the penalties, even if it's just for short term. Maybe it's to send a message to say, we need you to be better. And ultimately, I had a discussion with Law Nation, and Law Nation may be joining us tonight on the live stream. We were having a discussion about who starts at tackle, Terrence Steele or Lyle Collins. And I said, I believe, this is what I believe, and I may be crazy, but I think that Terrence Steele stock has risen so well that it may change how the Cowboys look going towards the draft next year. Tyron Smith is clearly, when healthy, one of the best tackles in football. You cannot argue that. The problem is your best ability is your availability. And it just seems like Tyron Smith always misses a few games. Last year, it was almost the whole season. And so this is in your mind where you have to decide, what are we going to do? You understand how good Tyron Smith has been on that outside. We haven't had to deal with having a Chaz Green out there. In some regard, you got to say that's the position we've got to focus on in the draft, is getting the replacement for Tyron Smith. Maybe use a first-round pick, again, on an offensive lineman. But if you're grooming and can get Terrence Steele to be able to take care of that spot, that's huge. If he can step into the role, I'm not saying he'll be Tyron Smith, but who knows? He's big, he's young, he's got a bit of an attitude. That leaves the door wide open, instead of having to draft for a position of need, of getting the best player available on the board that could be a playmaker. Because, see, what the Cowboys were planning to do in the draft last year was, we're looking at corners. We've got the biggest need here at corners. The two guys that they really wanted, they were off the board. Oh, let's take the best player available. And made a deal moving back to get that best player available and ended up bringing in another player, 2 for 1, a playmaker and a role player. So instead of having to draft out of necessity, which is where you look at right now and say, Tyron Smith, we need a replacement, and then have to take the lumps of a rookie trying to fill in. Now you've got a guy who's a veteran who, through the course of the rest of this year, is learning how to become that guy. And this is the thing that you have to look at, is not only how it affects you today, but how can we make this a long-term positive for the team? So we'll see where that goes. Now, of course, you know we have the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Dak Prescott versus Pat Mahomes. And this is an opportunity to see exactly where Dak Prescott is in comparison to the perception of where Dak Prescott is. The thing I'm going to end on today is here. Football and predicting football is harder than predicting the weather. Things change rapidly. Yesterday, 75 degrees out here. Rainstorm comes through. It's windy and about 42 today. Things change fast, really fast. And it's funny because we watch those shows and think these guys are being paid by the networks to be the experts. They know everything, and they're going to teach me what's going to happen. Clearly, they're the draft guru, the draft expert, the show host that's the football expert, the former player. Surely they understand everything that's going to happen. But if that was the case, when you took Mike Mayock and he became the GM of the Raiders and you look at the mistakes he's made, yeah. So I want to end this. Last night, after watching a throwback game, New England versus Atlanta, it's comical to me because people are saying, oh, shoot, the Cowboys are sitting there pounding their chest because you beat that garbage team, Atlanta. Did you see how bad Atlanta was last night? Oh, but New England destroyed them. You didn't do shit. We scored more points against that team in the second quarter than New England scored the whole game. And, by the way, we also beat New England in New England. So there's that. But I want to go back to the thoughts. And as we go through and we hear that, Dak Prescott's, he's still not a first-round drafted quarterback. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not the guy. Let's just go back. Stroll, just 3 years ago.
All right, so yesterday just happened in the same hour. Josh Rosen, UCLA quarterback, declared for the NFL draft. Hour later, Instagram, Sam Darnold declared for the NFL draft. It was time for both to go. Okay, Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen have the physical and mental makeup to be pros. Josh Rosen got hurt. They got a new head coach at UCLA. He's smart and capable. Why risk an injury with a new staff? Sam Darnold, I just didn't think he was getting better. From the Penn State Rose Bowl win that we all fell in love with a year ago to the Ohio State loss, was he getting better? I think he was frustrated with the USC coaching staff. I was told that. The head coach is not willing to make changes I think they need to make. It's time to move on. On average, NFL coaching's better than college coaching. Both are going to have growing pains. Guess what? You should have growing pains in the first year of a new job. I did here, I did at ESPN, and I did at every local job I had. If you're not having growing pains, then you're not challenging yourself.
Okay.
By the way, let me show you the first year for Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck. Bradshaw had 6 touchdowns and 24 picks. Aikman had 9 touchdown throws and 18 picks. Manning had 26 touchdowns and 28 picks. And Andrew Luck was the best with 23 touchdowns and 18 picks. Brett Favre, tons of picks.
Okay.
In year 3, Brett Favre had
Dak
more
Prescott,
picks than interceptions. Deshaun Watson threw a ton of picks. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Does Sam Darnold and does Josh Rosen, do they have the mental and physical qualities necessary to make the National Football League leap? Absolutely. Don't worry about their flaws. Nobody goes from college to the NBA flawless. Ewing didn't, Duncan didn't, Michael Jordan didn't, and Magic couldn't shoot in college. Either can Ben Simmons.
Are you stupid or something?
Okay, if you've topped out in college, you're like the guy in high school that never got cooler than your senior year on the football team. If you're a top 5 pick and emotionally and mentally ready to play, physically, go. Don't get paralyzed by a kid's college numbers. I hear a lot of you saying, well, Darnold had interceptions. Let's put up Rosen and Darnold's college numbers. By and large, Sam Darnold's blow him away. Sam is also bigger, stronger, more athletic. Do I think both could be stars? Yes. Do I think Darnold could fail miserably? No, I don't. I think Sam Darnold has very little chance to bust. I don't think Rosen has a huge chance to bust, but he's not as athletic. If he inherits a bad offensive line and a Todd Haley cocky, aggressive coordinator, he's the kind of kid that won't sit there and take it. He'll fire back verbally. Rosen's got a slightly higher bust level. He's thinner. He's not athletic. He's been hurt in college, and he's got a lot of opinions. Now, let me tell you the first 3 picks in the NFL draft. This is perfect.
Here we go.
If these teams don't do what I say here, they're idiotic. The first pick is Cleveland. You take Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Even though he grew up on the beach in California, he has sort of a Midwest ethos and a Midwest personality. In a cold division, he's a big, strong, physical, humble kid. He's got a Midwest ethos. Go to Baltimore. Go to Pittsburgh. Go to Cincinnati. He's tougher, as they say, than a $4 steak. He's perfect for Cleveland. I know I'm saying that. He's perfect for Cleveland. Josh Rosen should go number 2 to the Giants. He's coastal. He will not be overwhelmed by the sophistication or the pressure of New York. He comes from some money. He's a West Coast kid. They vacation in the...
Let me go back to last night. I went out and did my fireside chat, and it was 16-0. And, New England scored a field goal, and apparently this happened.
He's going to come back and play. We've got a date at Seattle.
Oh.
This is a pick by Kyle Van Noy.
Oh.
Throwing right to him. And Van Noy is in for the touchdown.
Pick 6 on his first play. Josh Rosen, who is on the fast track to the Ryan Fitzpatrick NFL Tour of Teams, has been one hell of a bust. And with that being said, we got lots of work to do to keep bringing you all the news on the Dallas Cowboys and take good care of you. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, but you know what we got to do. It's time to go to work.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, have fun!